What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unplayable, where we talk about our favorite games. I'm here with Dhaus. How you doing, friend?
Feeling great. Wearing red for our thematic video.
That's right. And I have my red microphone because today we're back in set 3. Guys, we are so ready for this next set to come out that we couldn't help ourselves. And we threw some jank together, and we just wanted to talk about that with you guys. So today, it's a little double red, pure aggression Maul coming at you guys. So
I've got a red coffee mug, sort of, too. So, you know.
I mean,
red Bucky,
that's incredible.
all the things.
Bucky and Maul are best friends in some alternative universe. I'm here for that mashup.
All right, Jim. So why Maul? Why are we doing Maul?
Okay, Maul's sweet. Everybody loves Phantom Menace because Maul is awesome. Let's just call it like it is. Overwhelm, big, mad, angry dudes swinging at people and killing your base because of it. Seems cool. Does it make sense? No. How come when I attack their clone trooper, all of a sudden their base takes damage? I don't know, but that's how the game works. But Maul is able to give just overwhelm to any unit. It doesn't cost any resources. It just taps on the leader side, and then it just has overwhelm on that attack, which is awesome.
What about his unit side?
We like fighting. His unit side, great question. Let me pull that up so I can make sure I say it correctly. It's a 6/6, comes out on 6, has overwhelm, and gives everything else overwhelm.
Seems pretty straightforward to me.
I agree. So we were looking at some fun force synergies, a lot of high attack, maybe low health units that never see the light of day. So yeah, let's just get right into talking about it. So our turn 1 plays, we wanted to make sure everything had 3 attack. So we have, the Stormtrooper, maybe have David's favorite card.
Yeah, let's be honest. We started this whole idea with how do we build a deck around Mr. Bones that isn't Kylo, and
the greatest character in the Star Wars universe.
Yes, so clearly we needed Mr. Bones. Jim made me cut 1 because 6 1-drops felt too high.
That's right. If I'm performing violence, I want to perform violence on David's deck building abilities, which is cut one of these.
Yeah, so keep going. Our turn 1 drops?
Yep, so we have the Kylo's High Silencer as well. Just a fantastic, just turn 1 play. 3/2 space unit is so good. And then we do get access to Bo-Katan since we are in the double red. Again, 3/3 is kind of what you're looking for the stat-wise. The extra ability is nice, but we're totally happy with this as is. Just as a 3/3 stats. So
yep.
Yeah,
talk to me about the other five copies of 1 cost cards.
Yeah, so we have a lot of early game plays here for sure. So Force Throw is just so good. And there's a ton of Force units in this deck, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We have the new Maul Legendary unit. We have Kylo. We have Fifth Brother. Just a lot going on. 1 copy of Kit Fisto, because why not? Seemed cool. So yeah, a lot of Force synergies in here. So we did want to put Force Throw. We did want to put the Fallen Lightsaber as well to kind of honor that. And then the Ruthlessness, we just haven't seen it. We haven't seen it put in the work that this card deserves. As we were looking through all the upgrades, you can smuggle and give +4 eventually. You can do other cool things. But we wanted to make this happen because it just fit with who Maul is. So yeah, that's what we have going on there.
It's good. Yeah, I fought for 1 copy of Twice the Pride. It's just the 2 cost double red. When played, deal 2 damage to the unit and gives them +4.
Yeah.
So it's pretty sweet. I mean, even if you drop this on Fifth Brother, the turn he's fighting, the turn he's ready to go. I mean, he's doing what, 2, 3, 9 damage?
1 billion damage. So much damage.
If it's overwhelmed, it's overwhelmed. But the weird thing you can do with this too, you can also play it on opponent's units to kill them if they just need to be killed by 2 damage. It's not ideal, but you can do it.
Yeah, it's only costing 2, so it's not the big of a deal. Yeah, I like that card quite a bit. I think 1 copy is perfect, though, because there's not going to be too many units that you can get away with that with. But I was really hoping there would be more grit in red. I was surprised when I looked up the grit keyword. Most of it was blue, which makes sense for kind of its healing abilities and staying alive.
Yep.
But there really wasn't much in red with grit. And if there was, I think 5 health was the maximum I saw. So it wasn't even like you could really get it that high to take advantage of giving it +6 attack rather than just +4 attack. But I still like the 1 copy. It's damage that you don't expect.
Yep.
And this this deck will go fast. That's for sure.
Yeah. 3 copies of Fallen Lightsaber. A lot of Force units. You can do lots of stuff. Obviously, this on Fifth Brother is great. But even if you just drop it on Bones or the Stormtrooper, and Bo-Katan is actually pretty sweet because you have a 6/6 turn 2. Yeah. If you can attack with Overwhelm, if they're only playing, that's pretty sweet because you're trying to get to some of those later options anyways. Seems pretty straightforward there. We got a couple of copies of Open Fire and then 2 copies of the Confederate Tri-Fighter. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, we were looking at that because the stats on this thing aren't great, but we thought, if Restore is an opportunity to beat this deck, they just survive long enough and heal long enough to clear out your board. Yeah. You will run out of momentum with this deck. And so Wolf was something that was talked about a lot as a potential option in set 1. It's definitely fallen out of favor now. But I like that this card just always has the basis. It wouldn't be terrible
in this deck, honestly. But
yeah, definitely worth considering.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it requires like the on play or the on attack to trigger that kind of gives your opponent an opportunity to restore early. This is just a static ability, so it's always online, which I like quite a bit. So they would have to kill this unit, which they probably don't really want to do because most of your damage is coming down on the ground side. So if they're wasting stuff in space, that's more damage you're able to put in with your ground units going on there. So it was worth a shot, and I like, just testing the waters there.
Yep, totally.
And 3/3 stats in space ain't bad.
That's totally reasonable in space. Yep. Let's see, we got the B1 attack platform. This is the new 3-cost 5/2 vanilla. Nothing.
I've never seen someone so excited about a vanilla card as you were about
5/2, man.
It's we gotta get this in Maul.
you just put this out there, and then against Sabine, and you say, "Go ahead and flip your Sabine." I'll wait. No, I'll wait. Please,
don't mind.
Go ahead. You just sit there like threatening. But yeah, even if you're just hitting this with Overwhelm, it might not be good at 2 health because obviously you could get super laser teched and then you just feel bad, like you just feel kind of dumb unless you beat them to the Overwhelm and you hit their super laser tech with your B1 attack platform. You 4 damage the base, they get their resource, but at least you beat them to it.
That's right. And 4 is greater than 1, so who won that trade?
That's right.
Math. That's how we do things around here.
You know it.
We have the Interceptor as well, just a staple card in space, just to pop their early plays.
Right. Hard not to
on board.
You're either nuking a unit or you're doing so much damage that you're opening up for the Overwhelm. Like if they have a Falcon out and you're only doing 3 damage, something else, then could the Kylo Silencer could do the Overwhelm. Either way, I think it's just good value. And then aggression here, I just love this card. If you're going a leader plus base in the same color, you typically want the 4-cost legendary from set 1 in that deck. So with aggression in particular, you're able to ready your units. Fifth Brother is a great one that you're trying to ready and keep popping. You can also card draw could be good, honestly, in this one. Sure. So you're likely to run out of resources pretty quick in your hand, and so the card draw is not nothing for sure here. Yep. You could do some weird stuff too here, where you just attack with your Stormtrooper into base for 3, and they're thinking, okay, it's safe to play my next thing or whatever, and all of a sudden you're playing aggression and maybe it has 5 health, maybe it's a Kanan or something. Mm-hmm. And you do 4 damage and ready your Stormtrooper and to Kanan, and then you use Maul to do Overwhelm with the Stormtrooper into their Kanan. So you're doing 2 damage to base and killing their unit, and you've already done 3. So there's some interesting stuff you can do with aggression for sure, with Maul being able to activate the Overwhelm. Yeah. The one thing with Maul that's kind of a bummer is it only gives Overwhelm on the attack, not to the unit for the whole phase. So I know I immediately was trying to think of Kylo shenanigans with giving it Overwhelm and doing a lot, but on the leader side, it does just have everything has Overwhelm. So in that case, it is the whole phase. But on the leader side, it's just for that attack. So you have to be a little bit cautious there. All right, so 2 copies of Heavy. You like Heavy more than I do. But I do think in this build, being a 4/4 with Coordinate, Raid 2, and when defeated, do 1 damage to each enemy ground unit. It does what we're hoping it does. Yeah. Right. Hits hard. Or potentially could hit hard, and then when it dies, you're opening up the Overwhelm to do more damage to base. So this is one where I don't think Coordinate comes on a ton with Maul. No. With this build, you're not building a ton of tokens, so it's much harder to make that part happen. But dealing the 1 damage to everything is great because you're trying to Overwhelm and deal that extra damage. A lot of times that's 1 extra damage to their base that you wouldn't have previously had. 4/4 stats aren't great, but this card does enough that I think it's worth at least having 2 copies of to make some things happen. Yep. So, all right, talk to me about the unit Darth Maul, because this one is fun. I mean, this is like the play kind of card where it attacks 2 units instead of 1. It does damage simultaneously, so if you're playing Maul as your leader and you attack with this, it's doing overwhelm to both. What's not to love? I mean, this card is just good. It's just straight up good. So, can you imagine if you put like Fallen Lightsaber on this Maul and all of a sudden
that's the dream?
It's an 8/9. I mean, it's doing some gross stuff. So, this is like the most duh card of this whole list, I think.
And they did already share FFG that all of the damage happens simultaneously. So for me, it was hard to rationalize because I've played a decent amount of Magic the Gathering, where when you attack, you choose blockers, and then you do the damage in the order that they choose to block in. And so it's like, okay, if I'm attacking two things, it's like if they have 3 health and 3 of the damage goes there and 2 goes to the next thing. This is all of the damage goes to both, and then both of their attacks go back to Maul. And so that's where the overwhelm does hit both of them. So if they both have 2 health, you have this thing up to 8. That's now 12 overwhelm damage going to their base, which is nuts.
Pretty nasty.
We like it.
All right, so we got 3 copies of Ruthless Raider. It's just one of the greatest space units in the game. It also does damage to stuff, so you can overwhelm for more damage to base. We got 3 copies of Kylo Ren. This is another one that feels pretty obvious. I mean, it can buff up to he can buff himself to an 8 cost if you're doing that. And he also comes out on the turn where Kylo's there, so the next turn, Kylo comes out on the turn where Maul deploys. So on the next turn, you could potentially hit for 8 with overwhelm very easily. Just seems very strong. So.
And we were looking at also doing like a red-green Maul. Obviously, like the red-green package with Vader is sick.
Yeah, ambush.
And so to potentially give this ambush would be insane. So it's definitely something to consider. But at least for this build here that we were trying to do, we liked aggression. We liked Bo-Katan as like an early play. Then we wanted to just see what would double red look like. But I think it's definitely worth looking into that. Overwhelming Barrage is just going to be another disgusting card. Keep all their stuff at 1 if you want to, and then just swing away. Mwah, beautiful. This was a fun one that you wanted to add in there, talking about the Wild Rancor.
Well, I mean, if you can include a Rancor, why wouldn't you include a Rancor? It's a double red.
Why pay more for Rancor when you don't have to?
6 cost, 6/8. It already has overwhelm, so it kind of is like, well, do we need it? But when played, deal 2 damage to each other ground unit. So again, it does nuke all of our ground units, so that's why it's only a 1 of, because it's probably bad. But we're not building to win the Galactic Championship. We're trying to,
that's right.
Take the locals. So that just seems fun.
I want to live out my favorite scene where the Wild Rancor picked up the fallen lightsaber and was just going to town on people. So watch out for that combo.
9/11. That's awesome.
Crazy stat lines there for a 6 cost. So, and then Kit Fisto, kind of a similar thing. Just the Saboteur is good. It is Force, so it goes with the other Force synergies that's going on in here. And if they play out their Village Protectors, there's something that they're really trying to stall you out with. Kit can just kind of do the work to stop that play. So.
It's
Sentinel units aren't great.
Yeah, it's almost like a 4th copy of Kylo Ren because, but with Saboteur,
Yeah.
I don't think the coordinate's going to happen very often, but you're hitting for 7.
And that's where, if you like this deck, you can mess around with how many copies of each that you want to do. This is just what we chose.
Yeah.
And then Big Brother, not Savage Oppress. I know you guys probably think it's pronounced that, but you'd be wrong, and I was told that today. So.
Yeah. Which has that ability when played. Let me read it. When played, if you control fewer units, including this one, then an opponent ready this unit. Which, it could be a reality since we're doing a lot of attacking into units and overwhelm that you might drop this and just be able to ready him and close out a game. Because we had talked about like Palpatine and Krayt Dragon, and maybe you want to play those. I mean, that's fine. I don't think it's a bad idea to run those. But I think by 7, you're hoping to be pretty close to end of game either way. I think it's okay.
The tricky thing with this deck build is with Overwhelm and not having Ambush on those cards, you're having to play it and then it needs to stay alive. So you're needing to have the momentum, and then that Overwhelm is keeping that momentum going, where you can just clear everything they're doing and then also dealing damage to their base at the same time. So it just is this inevitable, you're gonna die. So with them having to kill your stuff back to try to come back from that, at this point of the game, they finally get your board cleared. Well, now you have Savage coming down. That's just, okay, well, I'm going to win here. This is a lot of fun. A lot of things you can consider. We were looking at, the 2-cost upgrade that you can smuggle.
Arm to the Teeth.
As an option. Arm to the Teeth, yep, as a great option as well. And so there's some flexibility for your sideboard, but that's what we started with.
There you go. Awesome. Well, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.
Adios.